one more time. We are here at Kente Royal Gallery with the one and only Rob Newman III.
Hello, hello.
Who's part of our group exhibition, Peace to the World, with his amazing, I mean, this piece is so amazing. You guys need to come and check it out. Like, I cannot tell you enough about this piece. So anyway, let me shut up so Robert can tell us a little bit about himself and the amazing piece, you know, that he brought to the show.
Awesome. Where should I start? Anywhere?
Anywhere.
Great. So first, I'll start with gratitude. I think that's always important. Thank you, Doji. Thank you to your wife for curating such an amazing exhibition. Thank you to all the artists that contributed. It was an honor being in a space with so many talented creatives and other just phenomenal works besides mine. So it really, I think, elevated the space and gave me an opportunity to showcase my work as well. As Doji mentioned, my name is Robert Lee Newman III. I'm a Harlem-based artist. I've been in the city of New York for about 8 years now, and I'm from all over. My parents were in the military. I grew up in a few different places. In my life, I've had the opportunity to live in Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, Oklahoma, and now currently reside here in New York. And all of those things end up playing a role into the artwork that I create. My life has always been centered around Black culture and Black community. I grew up in the band and close to HBCU culture by way of University of Arkansas Pine Bluff and Philander Smith College. And as you guys can see, I am a proud Morehouse College.
Morehouse.
So again, thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And thank you again, Kente Royal Gallery, for featuring me in Peace to the World exhibition. The work that we have here today is called Baptized in Fire, The Rise of Cleopatra. This piece was created during the height of the pandemic as a response to what I was seeing in Harlem specifically, as civil unrest was rising, as anxiety was doubling down, as people were starting to get locked down in their house and not knowing what to do, and this modern racial reckoning was happening around us as well. So there were multiple storms. I think there were just convalescing around us, whether it was the economy, whether it was the public health crisis, or just the civil crisis between the different cultures here in the city. And that summer, I really started pouring into what activism and what movements look like today. So I did a series of portraits. The final collection ended up having about 25 works. And this piece behind me is one of the centerpieces. The muse for the piece is Chelsea Miller, one of the modern activists, a friend of mine and someone I admire for all of their work here in the community, and the founder of the Freedom March NYC. I've known Chelsea since about 2017 when I was just getting started here in the city as an artist. And one of the things that I appreciated about her work as an individual was the way that she attacked activism from a Gen Z or a modern perspective. Before the pandemic, a lot of my work centered around Black socialites and Black prolific figures such as Malcolm X or Angela Davis or Martin Luther King. And one of the criticisms that I responded to was that the work that I chose to create only highlighted figures that had stories that were already told. So when the pandemic started and we started seeing more of those people that were disenfranchised come to the front in all communities, not just the Black community, I was challenged to, again, draw out stories that were less prevalent or less well publicized at the time, and stories that I think help complete the narrative of what our civil rights movement looked like in the time of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King or Angela Davis. in terms of the holes they left for the LGBT community, or what it looked like for people to have intersectionality or gender rights specifically. This piece behind me is partially named The Rise of Cleopatra because of the gender rights piece. In 2020 and 2021, we really saw what it looked like for corporate America to come to grips with diversity and inclusion, and to understand what it meant to have people that looked like me, like Chelsea, like Doji, in positions of influence and positions of power. They were caught off guard a bit by what was going on in the community and in the world, and the only answer that I think came to every single one of them was the problem was that there wasn't a Black person in the room. This piece ended up embodying what it would look like for, I guess, diversity and inclusion, or a world that really was about inclusiveness and equity could look like. Having a Black woman, seated at the table, not only looking powerful and looking regal, but looking stern, looking dead in the eyes of the beholder, as if to challenge them to do more, to raise their expectations, and to dream bigger and better dreams. So oftentimes we have Black women that are portrayed or personified in different ways, and I thought that this was a beautiful way for me to capture, again, what it could look like for someone to just be comfortable in their own self, in their own skin, in their own stature, in a room with other people. I thought it was very important, given that theme and backdrop, to make this piece larger, so that when you see it in person, which I hope all of you do, you actually get to interact with it as if it is, a queen that is sitting on a throne, someone who is listening or giving you an audience to, hear out all those problems and concerns. Before I go on, I'll talk a little bit more about how the work was composed and some of the elements. I'm a big fan of mixed medium collage. A lot of the paint you guys see is acrylic paint. And I love in all of my pieces to incorporate some type of gold or metallic paint or gold leaf. But the mixed medium collage is one of the things that I really appreciate, bringing in different elements, not only from just nature and the city around me, but specifically from my world and my background. So you guys will see different clippings from the Wall Street Journal. I have a background in finance and ultimately worked at Morgan Stanley and other investment managers for about 8 years. So it was nice to be able to take the news and the daily things that I was seeing and incorporate them into the actual work. And I love this idea of a kaleidoscope, different elements being able to come together to create the larger picture. The last thing that I'll point out here that I think was very specific and important was that, again, the first part of the name is baptized in fire, and most of us experienced 2020 and 2021 the same way. It was a situation where we all felt overwhelmed and really engulfed by the world and problems that were going on around us, and it just seemed like an endless storm just pouring down on all the people at the same time, right? I love this expression that, the rain doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. everybody gets wet, and I felt like that's how it worked. So a part of this portrait, I called out the clouds because, one, here we have our person who's sitting in the middle of the storm, seemingly unbothered and willing to kind of work through it. And I think that's important as a message. And two, a lot of my pieces incorporate this storm or the clouds or the lightning bolt element because I'm very in tune with this idea of growth and what it looks like for us to go through that process, whether it's a community, whether it's a people, or as an individual. It's always the storm that nourishes us to the next piece. Sunshine all the time creates a desert. And I think it's these moments that we're able to live through together, experience, and if captured properly, grow and thrive from. So that is me. That's a little bit about the piece and how I work and my inspiration. And again, I can't help but say thank you again. I hope you guys have a chance to come out and see it.